Hello, this is Nicole with Angelic Therapy and Healing, bringing you a reading specific for twin flames. So for those of you that are listening to this that are not twin flames, this message is not for you. You are welcome to listen to it. You may find, if you're someone that's in a soulmate relationship, you may find some messages resonate with you, in which case go ahead and take those. But this is specific for twin flames. So if you listen to it, you may find that nothing resonates with you, and that's okay, because this is just specifically meant. The angels and Jesus have been yapping in my ear for almost a week now, wanting me to do a message specific for twin flames. So today is the day. So anyone's welcome to listen to this. I don't want to waste your time. So if you're not twin flame, not for you, you can stop it now. But if you want to listen to it, you might glean something. Feel free to hang in with us. But we are going to go ahead and do this now. I did go ahead and lay the cards out because it's an interesting detailed spread that they're having us do this week, and I don't want to shift the cards around and mess them up. But I do have cards pulled from John Holland's Psychic Tarot deck. I have also pulled two from the Fairy Lenormand Oracle cards, which they're going to have us flip over here in a bit. I have shuffled and prayed over my Sibylas and gilded Lenormands, and those are here for clarifiers as we need them and work our way through this. And for those of you that want to know about a time frame, because people often want to know about time frames, these messages in this are primarily for that first wave of twin flames, that first big wave. Obviously, there are some twin flames that are in union, but for this first big wave that's coming into union. So, a lot of the blue rays, the way showers. So a lot of these are applicable for them. So for those of you in that boat, these messages would probably be applicable, obviously the very end of December and through most of January. Now, twin flames, we're all at different points in our journey. So if you happen to be someone who listens to this reading and June 2017 or December 2017 or even January 2018, whenever you listen to this message, that's when these messages are meant for you and to resonate with you. So there's really no firm time stamp on these, because the angels will lead whomever needs to hear this message to this message so that they can receive this information at the time in which they need to receive it. So I'm not going to, when I post this, I'm not going to put a firm time stamp on it, because this may be the very specific situation for someone 9 months down the road or 14 months down the road from now. And when it's time for them to hear it, they'll be led to this message. So let's go ahead and get started. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start with this bottom card down here. Now this card, this is the foundation. So what we have is we have the divine masculine, we have the divine feminine. This is it's a shared foundation. And the first card that we have, let me make sure you guys can actually read that. Almost read it. It is number 6. And it is moving on, which it states at the very bottom. Now, this is a card, and this is, it's from the blue cards, which are mental. And it's talking about, this is a card that speaks about, embarking on a journey and leaving a situation behind, leaving the past behind. Much needed for you to leave that situation behind in order to move forward for most. It also talks about, there being light at the end of the tunnel, because you see this person moving into the future. All this darkness is behind them. All the light is in front of them. So it signifies the ending of a difficult situation, an emotionally charged, challenging situation. It speaks about that coming to a closure, that cycle ending, things improving. Crossing those emotional waters, because sometimes, this card, when people do it, it sometimes can be talking about, going overseas, taking a trip, moving waters. But they're saying the water in this situation is because this has been very emotional. And it's saying that, calmer waters are ahead of you. that you're going to be taking these many valuable lessons that you've learned from the past and all these experiences and this turbulent time of change that you've been going through. For some of you, that you've been going through for years. For some of you, that's just really been intense this past 9 to 12 months. But you've gone through this time, you've grown, you've developed, you're better, stronger, upgraded, more improved you. And you're going to have to forgive the dogs because my neighbors are pulling in and they can see them. Hopefully they'll chill out in a second. But moving on, moving forward, you know, that healing is undergoing, that for most of you, that you have nearly completed your healing. Some have completed it. Some are embarking on it. But everyone, both the divine masculine and feminine, are undergoing healing, learning, developing, growing. And now is the time to set your goals. Okay, so I've gone through this time of change, things moving, things shifting, things being taken away. What do I want now? What do I desire? What are my future goals? Now's the time to think about that and think of that in a positive fashion in order to have a successful future. Now, it also talks about a lot of synchronicity. Synchronistic events, synchronistic signs, a lot of divine guidance leading you to the person, the path where you're meant to be. And stepping into that gracefully, fearlessly, and with courage. Now, the thing is, you're saying it's twofold. So this is the foundation between masculine and the feminine. So the masculine and some of the feminine as well, life is completely being shifted and turned upside down. They're having to let lovers go, partners go. They're having shifts in friends and family. But the biggest thing is, for a large number of them, having to let lovers go, spouses, partners, things that they've desired and wanted for so long, but they have to let that go in order to be able to move forward into the light, move into their new beginning. They're saying successful new beginning. If you look here, you have dead leaves, dead brown leaves. And if you look here, you have a green, flourishing, filled with life leaves. So he has to let that go in order to move on, to move forward. He has to completely turn his back on it and press forward. But the problem is he's stuck, and he's having difficulty doing that. Out of fear, out of worry, out of not trusting the situation, just kind of stuck, not moving forward. That's the foundation from masculine side. Now the feminine side, what they're saying, it's also her moving on, but it's her moving on and moving away from him. Okay. So on both sides of the coin, there's been a lot of pain. So she been hopeful, wanting to have this union, have this connection, move forward with him, embark on a future with him, not going anywhere, for most, not communications, not knowing where he stands, how he feels, being hurt, feeling as though she's on her own. And I'm going to use throughout this reading, just so you guys know, to keep this clear, I'm going to be using divine masculine, divine feminine. I do know that there are twin flames that are same sex. I do know that it's even reverse. I have some of my clients that are, they're physically masculine. Their twin flame is physically a female, but they're actually divine feminine in a masculine body. But so I know it's not all straightforward, but to keep this clear on everyone, so when I switch back and forth to minimize the confusion as much as possible, I'm going to stick with divine masculine, divine feminine, him, her. So that way we can try to keep this as clear as mud for everyone. So for her, she's been hurt. She loves him. She desires him. She wants this future, this life with him, wants to share it with him. She feels as though it's unrequited love. He doesn't love her. He doesn't want to be with her. So she's thinking about finally just leaving him. And there are some twin flames out there that have just totally moved on, given up, and are forging forward with relationships with other people. Because they're saying for some that they're at the end of their rope. Now the thing is, what is blocking her, the card that we have, is partnerships and alliances. It's number 3. Now this is it's a spirit card. And you know, this is a card, typically this is a card that talks about seeing the fruits of your labor taking seed, blossoming, blooming, in all partnerships, but particularly in this, it's with regards to love relationships. How there needs to be an even exchange of give and take. You see how they're both supporting each other and they both have their wrists interlocked to assist each other, to support each other, to be there for each other. Because you can't have one person giving 95% and the other person giving 5%. It will fall apart. Both people don't always give 50%. Sometimes one is giving 90% and the other is giving 10%, but then the tide turns and then they flip. And sometimes it'll be 60-40, sometimes it'll be 55-45, but there has to be give and take to be balanced. So what they're saying is the block for the divine feminine is she has been giving her all to this relationship. You have the number 3. She feels this is a divine blessed union, relationship. She's been giving, she's been bearing herself, she's been communicating, she's been trying, she's been working toward bringing this to fruition, but she's not seen any return on her investment. She's not seen the interest from him. She's not getting the communication from him. Again, like they were saying earlier, she feels as though this is unrequited love. And she's not seen anything bloom, anything flourish. She's feeling as though she has planted these seeds and they've died. Which is why she's moved. She's a number of twin flames, feminine, are thinking about now finally just moving on. And some, like mentioned, have, because they feel that it's dead, it's over, it's going nowhere. And that is what's blocking them. Not seeing their efforts, their hopes, their dreams, their desires blossom, come to fruition. Now what's blocking the masculine, we have the card 7, deception and envy. Now this is another mental card. So he's in his head about someone who has deceived him from his past. If you look here, he's looking toward the past. When reading cards, to the right is the future, to the left is the past. Now he's looking with this very angry scowl on his face toward the past, because he's been deceived. Someone wasn't who they appeared to be. They weren't sharing all the information. They weren't divulging all the facts. They weren't being honest. They weren't being forthright. They were being purposefully deceitful. A number of the masculine, they invested in someone, invested in a business, and they had someone take them for granted. Someone use them. Someone take them financially. For a number of them, they had their heart broken by someone because it was someone that they cared for. For a large number of them, it was a lover. It was a spouse, a lover, an ex. For some, a very close family member or close friend that they thought that they could trust. But they had this unexpected, sudden change happen. And they're still very hurt and they're reeling from that. And they're saying for some of them, they have not been honest and forthright. They have been the ones wearing the mask. So the block for them is moving forward either because because of things from their past that have them stuck in fear that are related to deception. So it could be someone that they were with cheated on them, broke their heart, went with someone else. They had given it all, invested everything they had to be with this person. You know, they really wanted to be with her. She broke their heart. She left them. She took every, bit of money that they had in the bank. So now he has this divine love, but he's fearful of moving forward because he's still holding on to this anger, this betrayal from the past. And for some, they're saying for a small number, he has actually let her go, but he's fearful of that occurring again, which is what keeps him blocked, keeps him from moving forward. Now, the joint block between the two of them is patience and planning, and that's number 7. And that card, it has a red border, and that is, it refers to physical things. And this is a card that talks about, the qualities of patience, letting go of control, taking the time to assess the situation, rethink our options, rethink our choices, our decisions, really consider what's before us, and reevaluate the goals, reevaluate what we want, what we desire with regards to love. Because on both ends, the divine feminine, she's lost her patience. So she's making new plans to leave the divine masculine and move forward without him. And that's a block keeping her from this divine love, this union, this partnership that they're trying to bring her and him into. It's a number 7 that does talk about your divine path, the path that you're meant to be on, you're being guided toward. She's thinking about jumping off that path because she's run out of patience. Now for him, the reason it's a block, okay, so they're saying for some, it was this love partner that really raked him over the coals. He's done with her. And he actually wants to be completely done with her, but maybe they're still working through the divorce proceedings, or they're trying to split up their property. So he still can't completely shake free of her in order to move forward with the divine feminine. And it's really frustrating for him. Now for some, he feels the connection with the divine feminine, but he's having a hard time like planning and thinking through and thinking about it in a positive way, because he's fearful things are going to turn out the same way that they've turned out in the past, that he'll be betrayed, hurt, deceived, lied to. So it's keeping him stuck. And it's keeping him from making those plans. And for some, they're saying the divine masculine does not realize this gift that he has before them. He feels this connection with her. He doesn't really understand it. So he's not even fully, at this point, considering it as an option of making those plans to move forward. And for most, they're saying it is because of things that have happened in the past that have him stuck. And for some, it's because of some things that are currently going on in his life, because he is going through a time of transformation right now. And we're going to touch on that here in a moment. Okay. Now, this card, authority, this is how the divine feminine is feeling about the divine masculine. And it's number 4. It is a major arcana. And this card, it represents, the masculine qualities, logic and strength and wisdom and power and leadership and action. And you're just thinking things through logically, reasonably, being grounded, having a lot of, control over our emotions. Or in this case, blocking out our emotions. Because a number of divine feminine, if you look at this card, picked up without messing them all up. He's got this halo around his head, and his arms are firmly crossed across his chest. So there are a number of divine feminine out there that have, finished their awakening. Now, we always have little things that we will continue to heal and work on and improve throughout our entire life. But for the most part, she stepped into her power. She's finished her awakening. She's done her healing. She's doing her mission. She's ready for him to get on board so they can do those things together and start a life together, start a family together, start living together, enjoying their bliss together. But that's not happening. So now she's closed herself off emotionally from him. And in the traditional tarot card, this is the Emperor. And the Emperor, he's very powerful. He can get things done. But there's no emotion in that. It's just all business. Right now, she's all business. And that's what she's totally focused on. So, and they're saying for some, she's afraid of continuing to go in that vicious circle. If you look, he has this halo around his head. He has the halo around his head. She feels like, and there's even a circle here. She feels like she's closed off because she's fearful it's just going to be the never-ending circle. So say, you know, she does hear from him and he shows up. She's fearful he's going to up and leave again. This never-ending circle of pain and heartbreak. So to keep herself from having to feel that pain and heartbreak again, she's just closed off to him right now. But the interesting thing is, she has this internal conflict going on, because this is the outcome that she desires with him, and it's material harvest, and it's number 9, and that's the physical, and that's a card that talks about, you know, reaping what you sow, reaping the harvest. Of course, my neighbors are walking their Malteses and stop in front of the house. Allie, it's okay. I know they're not going to come eat your treats. So, material harvest, it's talking about, you know, getting those things that you deserve, those things that you've worked so hard for, enjoying those things that you've strived for, that you desire, that you want, enjoying those things in the physical. And it's a card that talks about, you know, achieving those things, success, congratulations on your success. You know, in the fall, we reap our harvest. We have lots of abundance. She wants to have this abundant life with him. She wants to have this harvest with him. For a number of the Divine Feminine, they really are, they have stepped into their mission, their purpose. A number of them are starting to reap tremendous financial benefits. They're ready to share this with him. They're ready to start a life with him. Enjoy those things with him. And that's what they desire with him. But in order to do that, they're going to have to open up emotionally. You notice he's open. His arms are open in that card. He's open to receiving. In order for this to move forward, she's going to have to open herself back up to him emotionally. Because you can't, there's this color of pink around him, of love. You've got the sun above his head. Sun represents obtaining everything that you desire, your heart's desire. She desires him. She desires those things with him. She loves him. She wants those things with him. But in order to have that, she needs to open her heart up to him again. And for a number of the Divine Feminine, you know, she does still love him. She does still send him love, but she's not open to receiving, because she's just so focused on making things happen. And for a number, she is contemplating moving on with someone else. But she wants it with him. She desires it with him. Now, on the Divine Masculine side, the way that he is currently feeling about the feminine, we have the card 16, which is disruption. That, too, is a major arcana. And if you look at this, I mean, this is a card that talks about sudden changes in life, disruptions, changes that are occurring. And hopefully you can see that. And if you see, he's blocked off as well. He has his arms crossed across his heart, across his chest. And it's almost as though, you know, when somebody's trembling and they'll cross their arms trying to stay warm, it's almost as though his heart is cold. So emotionally, he's not feeling anything toward her, but that's because in the traditional tarot deck, this is actually the Tower, which represents, everything's fallen apart. Life has totally been taken and flipped upside down. And it's totally out of his control. But the thing is, this card was how he feels about the Divine Feminine. Right now, he is closed off to her as well, which is funny because when it comes to twin flames, they're mirrors of each other. Currently, they're both closed off to each other, but for different reasons. She's closed off because she loves him, wants these things with him, has not seen him wanting those things with her. He's closed off because he's going through a time of transition and change right now that he doesn't have control over. And he's not happy about it, and he's closed himself off. So for some, Divine Masculine, maybe he did have this lover that he really wanted things to work out with. Maybe he kept trying to make things work out. Maybe he invested in her business. Maybe he kept investing in her. Maybe he kept paying for her lifestyle and hopes that, okay, she'll take me back. This will work out. And he's realized, no, she's left him for someone else. Or, he's found out that he's finally found out that, she got him to invest in business and property and things that were a bad investment for him, just using him for his money. For some, it could be that he was investing in a business with a partner, maybe a family member or a close best friend. Same thing. Found out, bad investment, lost a bunch of money. But what he's going through right now has completely changed his life, and he's going through a spiritual awakening. So his things that he used to enjoy, he's not enjoying anymore. The friends he used to hang out with, not really resonating with them like he used to. Which is what the Divine Feminine has been going through for a while. Because again, we're mirrors of each other. Typically, and for most, the Divine Feminine started undergoing these changes. Could have been 3 years ago, could have been 6+ years ago, but her life started being flipped upside down, out of her control. He's just catching up now. That's all. And the Divine Feminine, having been through that, understands what that's like. When everything that you have worked so hard in your life to have, be it love, be it work, career, business, the carpet is just totally ripped out underneath you. It's a challenging thing to go through. But we know that there's light at the end of the tunnel when we get there. But he's going through that right now. Life's been shifted and totally tipped upside down. But the Tower is actually a blessing. A lot of people look at the Tower like, oh my gosh, I don't want that. I don't want my life to be totally knocked down in shambles. But it's good because in order to rebuild something on a solid foundation, in order to bring in those things that our heart truly desires, with the right people, with the right situations, with the right environment, the right foundation, in order to have those things rebuilt, stronger, solid, everlasting, we have to have things taken away. So what typically happens is this will be and is a catalyst to heal us, to move us forward, to help us learn from our mistakes, to help us accept them, to help us grow, to help push us forward. For some, it's to help us get past the negative thinking, the limiting beliefs, because there's a lot of stay in our heads, not just the Divine Masculine, but also the Divine Feminine. But the Divine Masculine, a lot of this is, he has these changes going on, and there's a lot of fear because of things that happened in the past that keep him stuck and fearful from moving forward. And it's a lot of fear, limiting beliefs. But these things come and they change us. They get us to also stop ignoring problematic situations, problematic people who are out to deceive us, to hurt us, to take from us. In order for us to address those things, to learn those lessons, to make the necessary changes, in order for us to move forward and have a complete transformation of our life, our mind, our body, our soul. Have that growth. So that at the end, we can look back and be thankful that those things came in, because they changed our life for the better. But when we're going through it, it's not an easy thing to go through. And that's what he's going through right now. 16, when you boil that down, that's 7. He's going through these changes right now that have his mind completely, most of them not even on the divine. I mean, obviously, with this connection, you can't get the other person out of your mind, your heart. You constantly think about them. They don't go away. You're constantly feeling them, hearing their thoughts, thinking about them. That doesn't go away. That's a gift. But right now he's really focused on these changes that are going on, because that's leading him to his path. That's leading him to where he needs to be. And the funny thing is, again, with them being mirrors, what he desires with the divine feminine, the outcome, is the universe, number 21. And that in the traditional, and it's a major arcana, huge life-changing catalyst things. In the traditional tarot, this would be the world. And this is, in this card in this deck, it's talking about, being rewarded for your efforts, triumph, success, peace, liberation, fulfillment, joy, having everything, the entire world at your fingertips, that everything that you've been working toward and striving for, that you've received it. But it also talks about having to go out and meet it halfway with this deck. That there has to be something done for those things. So I'm getting for most of the divine masculine, he wants the world with her. He wants the life with her. He wants those things with her. He does desire those things, but he's stuck at this point. Now, for some, he wants those things, but he's not taking any action. He's not doing anything. He's not communicating. He's not taking off his mask and burying himself. For most, it's because of fear. But that is being healed right now. So for the divine feminine who are listening to this, have patience. You've been through this. You've gone through these things. Have patience with your beloved while he's going through these things. Send him love. Open yourself back up to him. You love him. You want those things with him. He wants those things with you. You're both just working on your own things at this time. Have patience and love each other, because you are twins. Kind of reminds me of Twin Towers. And for the divine masculine that are listening to this card in this deck, it does talk about meeting halfway, taking some action, doing something. Because if she's the star, the interesting thing with this card, it talks about, there's ancient meaning behind stars, about how stars represent souls, and some stars are brighter than others. They bring that old soul wisdom, and they will help guide the other, lead the way. If she's your star and she's guiding and leading your way, and she's the direction in which you want to head, take some action toward that. It's not anything to be fearful of. You both desire the same thing. Because the outcome if he can take those steps forward, overcome his fear, if she can open back up emotionally and not walk away, and if he can walk away from his past for good, overcoming those fears of the past, it will have complete transformation for their lives. It's interesting because when you look at this card, this is a major arcana. She's like holding on to this dark head. And she's wearing green. So this card, just its straight up meaning. This is a card that talks about, endings being close at hand, changes suddenly happening in our lives, having the strength and the courage to move forward, to letting those things go. And the traditional tarot deck, this is the death card. And a lot of people think death is bad, but actually the death card is good because you have to let things of the past go in order to embrace the new. You know, God will take things away from us, but he only takes things away when he has a blessing to bring into our life. So, and it's not just letting go of people, but letting go of situations, letting go of our thinking, our limiting beliefs, our doubt, our worry, letting go of our fear, accepting these changes, accepting these blessings, because everything changes. We can't live in the past forever. We have to at some point move on, move forward, take those positive steps. Because if we can do that, we'll expand in ways that we could never have imagined into things that are better than what we could have ever imagined. But it's letting those things go, because if you look at this card, you know, she's like holding on to this dead, gray, lifeless face right here. But if she can let that go, or he can let that past go, if the Divine Feminine can let go of the past hurt and worries, it's simply because you both had things that you had to work on. These things take time. Divine timing truly is at play. And if he was ready when you were ready, you would not have been ready yet, because there's been tremendous transformation in your life as well. So on both sides, if she can let go of the past hurt, past pain with him, and focus on all the blessings that she's had and the healing that she's undergone, and open herself back up to that love. If he can let go of the past that's hurt him with other people and situations, if he can let that go and allow his heart to be healed and let go of the fear, they both will have their lives forever transformed. And if you look here, she has wings. They'll be able to step into their divinity and those things that they desire. Let's do, I'm going to pull one clarifier on a couple of these cards to get some, and these cards here are some additional information, but they want us to hold off on those right now. Okay, so for moving on, this guy's, okay. Both are considering moving on because they both have been hurt. They've been cut to the core. They've been hurt. She's been hurt by him. Not feeling requited love. Not feeling as though he wants those things that she desires. Not feeling as though he wants a future with her. So she's thinking about moving on, moving forward, building a life and a future with someone else elsewhere. He's been hurt by the past. For most, he's been hurt by someone else, another partner, another lover, a spouse. He's fearful of moving on from that past and moving forward with her because he's fearful he'll get hurt again. He's fearful, okay, great. I felt this connection before with someone. I really loved and cared for them. I thought it was going to work out beautifully. And look, then I was dead inside. And if I take this step forward, is she going to rip me apart too? So both need to overcome their fear. So they can move forward into the light and the blessings together. Now, clarifier for the partnerships and alliances. This was the block for the feminine. We have anchor. And, you know, she's ready to it's fun. So we have, here in Ohio, we'll have, you know, boating parties where we'll all go out on a bunch of boats and we'll all connect our boats together, and we'll hang out in the water all day long, essentially having a party out on the lake. You know, who are you going to hitch your boat to? She's ready to hitch her boat to him. She's ready to anchor in a life with him. She's ready to anchor that beginning with him. Because the anchor, it's stability, it's foundation. Building upon something that's solid. But what's blocking her is she doesn't feel as though he wants to anchor and build that foundation with her. So she's looking at pulling that anchor up. And some have started to go ahead and pull that anchor up to move elsewhere. And that is blocking this divine love. Now on his end is the man. What's blocking him? And it is from being hurt by a romantic partner in the past. So this is a man, and if you look, he's looking to the past. He's holding on to a rose, which represents love. What's blocking him is he's had his heart broken in the past by someone else. This is a card being stuck in your mind. This is a card of being stuck in your mind. So he's stuck in his head. He's blocking himself. They're saying for a number of the divine masculine, the path has been cleared. They've cleared her path to come into union with him. They've cleared his path to come into union with her. He's blocking himself. And it's because of his thoughts, his worries, his fear, his doubt. He has closed himself off in the cold. Because he's fearful of having his heart broken again. He's fearful of being deceived again, lied to, cheated on again. So he stays stuck in by himself, closed off and in the cold. Now the interesting thing is, some clarifiers for this joint block that they share. On the feminine side, we have the heart, love. And on the masculine side, we have the cross. Now, the cross. Okay, actually, we're going to start off with the heart. So, you know, the heart, you've got these two swans. And it talks about love, passion, devotion, emotions, monogamy, enduring love, endless love, unconditional love, built on a solid foundation. So, what's blocking her is she's ready to start this love. She's ready to start this with him. But she's been sitting in a hold pattern for too long. And she's running out of patience. For some, she's run out of patience. She's ripped up that anchor and off she's going. For some, she's near that point. She's there. She's on the brink of ripping that anchor up and moving on without him. But she loves him and desires these things with him. For some, they're showing me an image of her shaking him. Like, don't you see? And she doesn't know what else to do. She doesn't know what else to do other than leave. Now the block for him is the cross. And this talks about grief and sadness and burdens, you know, having to carry that cross. Having this cross to bear. Okay. What they're saying is for most masculine, he feels as though he has this burdensome, depressing, lonely. A lot of them are filled with grief and sadness. He feels as though he has this cross to bear. Because of these things that occurred with him in the past with this person, as though he can't free himself of her. He can't free himself from the way that she made him feel. So for some, you know, she made him feel like he was a horrible husband. He was not capable of satisfying her needs, taking care of her, providing for her. For some, he just totally felt used. So now he feels as though he has this cross to bear, this burden to bear, and it's like he doesn't even know how to get rid of it. But he doesn't realize he's already free of it. Because they're saying for majority of the divine masculine, this person from the past has already been removed from their life. For some of them, it was their decision. For others, it was the decision that the divine finally just stepped in and took care of it because she wasn't meant for him. And he deep down knew that, but he didn't have the courage or didn't know how to break free. So God stepped in and took care of that and cut him free of her. But they're like saying a lot of them, he's still stuck in this prison that's in his head of his fears and his worries, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm weighed down by this cross, this past of mine, which at any point he can toss that to the side and move forward because he's been set free. So additional information, when I was shuffling these two cards came out together. And these are pretty cool. These are the Fairy Lenormands. And the first one that had come out was the fish. And the second one that had come out is the coffin. Now the thing is, they have different meanings for these. So, and the way the Lenormands work, Lenormands are pretty cool because they play off of whatever is the other card that shows up. So typically you'll notice when I pull Lenormands, I'll pull them in threes. And I'll typically pull them in threes with a past, present, future, because it really hinges off of what's beside that card. And so for this deck, fish is actually talking about resources, the resources that we have. So like say, for example, if the scythe was next to the fish, then that would be really talking about, in order for us to maybe make more time for ourselves by cutting away the things and the people that are keeping us from having time to ourselves. But it hinges off of what's beside it. But the big thing is, this is talking about resources. Which is interesting because the card that we have next to it, it is the coffin. Now the way that they look at the coffin in this deck is a little bit different. If you look, there's these little fairies around. It's actually kind of magical. It's not so doomsday because they call it an initiation. So traditionally, this talks about an ending, but they take it as an initiation. If we're going to face our inner demons, hunt them down, face fear, turn things around, harness our own power in order to step forward into something beautiful, a new beginning. Because again, you have to have things end in order to have something new begin. So I get a number of the divine masculine, a number of the divine feminine. She has gone through tremendous change. She's gone through change with friends, with some with family, nearly all with work, career, stepped into doing this mission, stepped into doing the things that she's meant to be doing or preparing for those things. But she's seen how magical life has begun, has been since letting those things go. And she's ready to have this rebirth, this new beginning, this initiation of starting life, starting things with the divine masculine. She's ready for that. And that's what she desires. She's ready for it to be magical. And this is eternal love, 8. And that's interesting because that's a 7. And that's, being on your divine path, doing what you're here to do. That is the path that she's meant to be on. She's ready for that. Now for him, he's got the ring. 25, which is also 7, divine path. The ring. It's actually like a good leaf clover on that. Now, in the Fairy Lenormand, this card, it talks about continuity, sealing the deal. It talks about commitments, a bond, an oath. And all the Lenormands, the ring talks about never ending. never-ending love, never-ending commitment. It's interesting you have an egg here, because he wants a new beginning with her as well. Get these red flower petals. He has a deep love for her as well, but he has not shared that with her. And therein is where the problem lies. Because he loves her and wants those things with her. She doesn't think that he does. That's the foundation of moving on. But he is fearful of making a commitment because of the past. Okay, let's pull a couple Sibilas. We're going to try to get this thing wrapped up. Okay. And I'm going to move these over here once we're done going over these. These are actually some clarifiers for the divine feminine that we have there. Now, the first card that we have is the Messaggere. And hopefully you guys can see that. This talks about news that comes in. This is the messenger. It's typically news, information that comes in from afar. And then we have the card, the Melancholia. And this is the card, it talks about, well, this is the card that is melancholy, sadness, depression, loneliness. If you look, there's actually a cross. It's like she's sitting at someone's grave, alone. And then the last card that we have is Denari. And hopefully you guys can see that. Because this is the card that talks about money, gain, inheritance, investments. If you look, there's like bags of money in here. To build a foundation, but it's all alone. So for some, it's as though the divine feminine has received information. Okay, so for some, she's received information for some, she received information about him going back to the past or moving, going back to someone else. That's left her alone. But she holds a lot of value. And they're saying that she holds a lot of value on her own, and together they would hold tremendous value. The union, okay. It's interesting. So you've got like these two fleur-de-lis coming together. They're saying the union would be tremendously prosperous, abundant. This is a door to a safe. They're saying that they have to open the door and step through. But neither have. No one's in that room. Now for some, she's been waiting on communication. Because for most, the divine feminine, she's been waiting to hear what it is that he wants, what he desires, how he feels for her. There's been no communication, so she has been alone and sad. And so now she's looking at moving forward instead of stepping through that door and building that value with him. For some, she holds tremendous value instead of sharing that value with him and building further wealth. And wealth isn't just monetary. They're saying wealth in all areas of life. Everything that they both have desired will be found with each other. They hold the key for each other. So the first card we have is the Donna Maritata. And this is the card that is talking about, you know, a married woman, being attracted to a woman who is the mother of a family, or it could be someone who's very maternal, being attracted to a maternal woman, a caregiver. And then we have the Bambino. So we have the bambino, and this is also, he talks about birth, growth. Usually it talks about physically baby, but sometimes it can also be talking about giving birth to something. And then we have the La Donna di Severzio, and this is the maid, is what this is talking about. Help, assistance, help around the home. Someone who can be counted on, reliable. This is additional information about the ring. So for some, the divine masculine is thinking about committing to the divine feminine. But his decision about making that commitment hinges around children. For some, it's about hinges around children he already has. For some, it hinges around him wanting to have children or not wanting to have children. So maybe he wants to have children, and his twin, he thinks that she doesn't want to have children. But the funny thing is, twin flames, when they actually start to communicate a lot, they'll find that they have parallel lifetimes. I mean, they'll have these points where they did things at the exact same time, or they began similar business ventures, but their lives are very parallel, very similar. They have similar interests, similar likes, similar beliefs, because they're twin flames. They are each other's other half. So what he thinks she wants or doesn't want, well, she wants the exact same thing he wants. He doesn't realize that because there's no communication. No one's in the room. But for some, that's keeping him stuck. And for some, they're saying, he wants to give birth to this new beginning. He wants to commit. He wants to move forward with her. But he's done that with someone in the past. She's kind of like looking to the past. He's done that with someone in the past, and she left him alone and cold. And they're saying for some, it was somebody that he would never want to have children or have a family with. So he has this new love of a lifetime. He'd like to move forward with the feminine. He'd like to commit. He'd like to have that with her, have that new beginning. He thinks he could give birth to this new beginning with her. For some, he thinks that he could, start a family with her. She could be the mother of his children. But for most, she has a very warm, loving heart. He believes that she has a very warm, loving heart, but he'd met someone in the past that he thought had a warm, loving heart, but she was very cold, and she left him cold and alone. So he's at this brink of this new beginning where he's thinking about committing with her. This is 7. He's realizing this is a divine connection. He feels that love. He feels that connection with her. He'd like to move forward with her. For some, he would like to commit, propose, move forward with a ring. But he wants to embark on that new beginning. But he's terrified of, okay, I did this before with someone before that I thought was loving and warm. And she ripped my heart open. And she left me alone out in the cold. What if this new woman, what if she does the same thing? So it's kind of stuck. Okay, we're going to pull one final clarifier here, and then we're going to put a bow on this and wrap it up. Okay, that makes sense. So the card that we have on the feminine side, we have 22, which is the choice. The feminine has come to a point. She's trying to make the decision whether to continue to wait for him in hopes that he's going to figure all this out and overcome his fear and move forward, or if she's just going to move on. Because she's tired of being in this lonely, sad, depressed state. For some, She's fearful that she's always going to be on her own, that he's never going to come to, that there's never going to be communication, that they're never going to step through that door together to that abundance, that life, that wealth in all areas of life that they desire, that they will find with each other. So she's trying to decide between, do I continue to wait or do I move on? And most are looking at moving on. Now they're trying to get you to not move on. They're trying to get you to not move on. You're at the brink of having your lives totally transformed. They're trying to get you to hang in there just a little bit longer. But that's where she's at. In the divine masculine, we have flowers. And these are, beauty, happiness, joy, a gift of the heart. These are like, I'm your recovery and your well-being. Truly, that someone is a gift. Flowers are language for lovers. A way to express our love, our passion, our joy, our appreciation. But it's a valuable gift to give and to receive. She's a gift from God. You don't have anything to fear, but fear itself. Because that's what's keeping you stuck and carrying this cross around that you don't need to carry any longer. Because they're trying to get you to see that it's a gift. Drop that cross so your life can be transformed in miraculous ways in all areas. And she's the key, just as you're her key. So, it's true love. Amore. And the star. All your dreams coming true. So, ladies, don't give up. Hang in there. Guys, drop the cross. See that it's a gift. Overcome that fear. Because the love of a lifetime awaits both of you. And they're trying to help you with that. 13, it's a master number. It talks about ascended masters are assisting us. You are totally surrounded by the divine. You totally got angels constantly around you. You've got Jesus, you've got the angels, you've got a ton of ascended masters, all trying to bring the two of you together, trying to help you, trying to assist you. Ask for their help. They will help you. If you need to have those conversations, ask and they'll help you have those conversations. If you need courage overcoming your fear, on either side, your fear of, oh my gosh, he's never going to come forward, this is never going to happen, ask Archangel Michael, come in and help me. Help me overcome my fear, my worry. If you're the masculine, you're trying to overcome these fears of, oh my gosh, I'm going to get cut in half again by her. And you need help overcoming that fear and having those conversations. And they're also saying, opening up, they're bringing up that mask that this guy was having on before. Because you haven't shared your emotions. Most of the divine masculine have not shared their emotions at all with the divine feminine. So if you need the courage to have that conversation, to overcome that fear, to have that conversation with her, ask Archangel Michael to help you. Because we're all completely surrounded by this divine team, and they are trying to bring this magical thing together. All we need to do is help them help ourselves. Yeah, that's what they're saying. Okay. Ask them to help us help ourselves. So we can both get out of our minds and we can move forward together. So hopefully that helps everyone. If you have any specific questions, I will be opening up my webpage to start doing more readings and healing sessions for people next year. I will, I'll put an announcement in one of my weekly readings to let you guys know when I'm accepting more appointments and when I've got that all turned back on. And you guys can schedule private readings at that point, or if you need any healing sessions or whatever, you can schedule that with me then. But the private readings at that point, when I do open back up to appointments next year, that can get you any additional information. But for those of you that this is for those, you know, first wave, twin flames, the blue rays, the way showers, those folks that's first big group coming into union, you're already getting your messages already. So this is probably confirmation for you. So a lot of you have already been getting signs, especially the divine feminine. You've already been getting signs to hang in there, don't give up. So it's just confirmation that what you're getting is true. Hang in there. Don't give up. And for the masculine, she loves you. She's ready for you just as you're ready for her. Drop that cross. And then everybody can have an amazing 2017. So I do wish you all a happy new year. And I wish you a month filled with a lot of love, joy, and blessings.